recording? Okay, it looks like it's recording. All right, so again, this is page 118, chapter 3 review. So I put an X through the non-examples here. You guys have done this. This is now, what, your third time since this is chapter 3. So I'm not worried about the non-examples, but let's look at the first 4 here together. Power of 10. Wasn't sure what they were asking, but what they're asking for is an example of a number that would be from the power of 10. Mr. Camisa, what do you think? Give me a number that would be an example of the power of 10.
3.
Well, does 10 go into 3 evenly?
100.
100 would be an example, so you guys could put 100. Okay, 1,000 would be an example, 10,000 would be an example. Okay. All right, then it says a multiple of 10 squared. Well, first off, Mr. Camisa put up 10 points. First off, what is 10 squared? Mr. Delgado, what's 10 squared? What is it?
100.
100, yeah. So what's a multiple of 100? What's that? 200 is a multiple of 100, that's right. 800 is a multiple of 100. 1,000 is a multiple of 100, okay. All right, number 3, it says an expression with a variable. We've talked about those. In fact, I don't remember if it was late last week or early this week. I talked about expressions and I talked about variables, although I've talked about variables before. Just remember, an expression does not have an equal sign. So if I wrote 3 plus 400, that's an expression. If I wrote 1/2 times 7/8 plus 3, that's an expression. Or how about 400 divided by 0.25? That's an expression. Expressions don't have an equal sign. And I'm not going to talk about variables or a variable. You guys should know what that is. And so you write an expression with a variable. And then let's see here, an underestimate of 532 times 11. Well, I want to help you with that one here. If we were to round this to get an approximate of what that might be, well, let's see here. An underestimate could be, let's say, 500 times, I heard somebody say it, times 10, which is what? 5,000. Okay. I think that's a reasonable underestimate. All right. So 5, 6, 7, and 8, always, sometimes, or never. Then we have, bless you, then we have 9, 10, and 11, either true or false. And then 12, I answered that for you, and I'll read it a couple times here. It's right over here on the right side of the screen. It says, suppose both factors in a multiplication problem, and remember the factors. If I was to write, let's see, 35 times 7 times 0.2, okay? These are the factors of that multiplication problem. Those are factors. What am I hearing?
You trying to scoot in.
Oh, no, I thought I heard like somebody's computer or a phone or something. No? Okay. I'm just getting old and hearing things, I guess. All right. So those are factors. So it says, suppose both factors in a multiplication problem are multiples of 10. Explain why the number of zeros in the product may be different than the total number of zeros in the factors. And it's a good question, but I don't know, it was kind of wordy, maybe a little confusing. So I wrote down the answer for you, or one way you could phrase it, and I'll read it to you here. If the factors used end in 0, it may have one more 0. For example, so 400 is a factor of 10, and 50 is a factor of 10. How many zeros are in 400 and then 50? Well, there's 3 zeros, okay, in those two numbers. But the answer is 20,000, and so it doesn't have 3 zeros, it has 4 zeros. And the reason being is that 4 times 5, and this is what they're talking about. They're talking about just the basic factors. Okay? 4 times 5 is 20, and there's that extra 0 that we would get in the answer. Okay? So let's see here. So you guys could just write that down, and then you can put down the example or your own example if you want. Again, if the factors used end in 0, it may have one more 0. And then I put, for example, 400 times 50. That has 3 zeros. And the answer is 20,000, which has 4 zeros. Okay? So that's the answer to number 12. All right. Let's see here. And I'll put this back up so you guys have more time to read it. So the reteaching, you guys have done these before. So again, like for set A, for example, right here, it says pages 81 to 84 if you want to reference your book back. And then under each one, they give you an example on the right side. Set B, pages 85 to 88. And again, they give you an example on both sides, or on the left side, on how to do these. So it should be pretty straightforward. Let me look at these really quick, see if there's something I don't want you to do. Remember to look at the number of zeros in the exponent. So yeah, you guys can do A, and I'm looking at B. Remember to round the factors to use compatible numbers. It says estimate. Let's estimate these together though, for 1 through 4. That way we're all going to have the same answer. So Ms. Ugisa, I want you to estimate with us number 1 and 2. What would you do for number 1? Speak up, honey.
For number 1, I would estimate 396 to 300.
Actually, it's closer to 400. I would do 400 for that one. And now that he's mowing the lawn out there, or whatever it is he's doing, you guys got to speak way up, because I won't be able to hear you.
And 7 to 10.
Yeah, I would make it 10. Okay. How about number 2, Miss Ugisa? What do you think?
Let's turn 17 to 20.
Yeah, that's what I would do.
And then 63 to 60.
Yeah. Same thing. Put up 20 points. 3 and 4, Miss Jennings, what do you think? For number 3, what would you do?
I would do 90 times 50.
90 times 50. Yep, agreed. Okay. And then number 4, what would you do there?
Oh, sorry, number 4?
Yeah.
I would do 50 times 800.
50 times 800. I like it. Put up 20 points. Okay. Somebody could have gone 40 times 800, but, either way. Oh, wait. We're done with that. So now let's go to set C. Let me see here. Keep track of the place values. Find each product. So they just want you to solve each one. When you're finding a product, you're finding the answer to a multiplication problem. You guys can do those. Set D. You can draw arrows, array models to represent. Yeah, find each product. Same thing. You guys can do those also. All right, set E. Regroup if necessary. Find each product. Yep. More multiplication. Set F. Draw a picture and write an equation. So 34 dolls. I'm looking at set F, number 1. A toy store has 15 times as many dolls as Alexandra. How many dolls are in the store? So let's see here. Gosh, there's lots of different ways you could do that. Let me try this. I'm going to draw a box, and that'll represent 30, let's draw an arrow here, 34 dolls. Okay? And then what would I have to do? I'd have to draw 15 more of those. And you guys can come up with your own or continue on with what I was doing. You understand that, Mr. Button? Okay. All right, so that's number one. Number two, a store received a shipment of 37 TVs valued at $625 each. What's the total value of the shipment? Draw a picture and write an equation. Well, the equation, let me go back to number one. The equation would be 34 times 15. That's the equation. The equation for number two, boy, he didn't pick a good time to be mowing the lawn out there. 37 times 625. That's the equation for number two. I'll let you come up with your own model, however you want to do that. And let's see here. Finally, set G. You need to carefully consider all parts of the argument. Sarah has 214 bags of beads. Each bag has enough beads for 22 bracelets. And she estimates that 200 times 20 equals 4,000. Are there enough beads for at least 4,000 bracelets? All right, I'll let you guys think about that. See if you can come up with an answer. So that's it for the Chapter 3 review. And I'm going to end this video.